Welcome to the Pre-Trip Revised. Due to edits, this video was shortened. You will have 45 minutes to complete your test, which is more than enough time if you have been trained to know what you're looking for. Please consult your state certified instructor with any questions or safety concerns. I hope this video helps and good luck. Alright, so as I'm approaching the bus, I am observing the overall look of the bus. My lettering and words are all in place. My light coverings and all screws are in place and intact. Bumper's intact. The bus isn't leaning from one side or another, and the mirrors appear to be mounted. And my windshield wipers are malleable as well, and there's no cracks in the windshield, and the seal is intact. And we're just gonna go straight to the end. So from here, I'm checking out a few things. My alternator and my water pump are belt driven, and the belts appear to be in good working condition. Nothing looks missing or out of place. I have my coolant reservoir here, my power steering reservoir here, engine oil check and transmission check, and my compressor is situated behind this AC unit, and that is gear driven. There's also no visible leaks underneath the bus. And my tailpipe isn't sticking out more than 2 inches from the bus. I'm checking my doors, making sure they're functional, the rubber is intact, and the glass is not broken or missing or dirty. My stair well is free of debris. Nothing's lifting, everything's intact, and so are my handrails. My stop sign is secure. Here is the proper color, shape, and it reads stop, and it's secure to the stick. Okay, going up the stairs. You can come on in. So from this point, I'm making sure my padding is intact. Here is my emergency release button. It is in emergency right now, and to engage it, I put it in normal. And here I have my emergency equipment. Starting with my fire extinguisher, it is charged and in the green. My tag is dated for January 6, 2025. Next inspection should be a year out. Pin is intact, and my tag is intact, and the handle appears to be in good working order. Okay, so removing it from its holster. My hose is also intact. There's no obstructions, and this should be at least 8 BC for this bus. And this particular one is 40 BC. So we're good there. Then I'm going back up. Okay. Going from there to my first aid kit. But first, let me check my 292. So looking at my 292, I should have a signature. It was last inspected 7/16/2024. Next inspection should be 13 months out, which would make 8/16/2025. It's the proper bus and VIN number, and also this is a 60 passenger. Now moving on to my first aid kit. Knowing that this is a 60 passenger bus, then I should have at least 24 units. My first aid kit. Okay, we got the machine. Alright. And take this down. And I'm checking to make sure that I have 23 units. There's no visible moisture or dust. The weather seal is intact, and I should have 24 units. 2, 4, 6, and 24 units. So this first aid kit is ready for this bus. Alright. And continuing with the process, my fans are intact. And also is my rear mirror. Here I have my registration and insurance, and it's all up to date with the proper bus number and VIN as well. Then I'm going to check down here for my reflective triangles. Okay. So I'm making sure that it locks into place and there's no sand or anything leaking and it's not broken. And I rotate these daily. Okay, so now that I've checked all my emergency equipment, I'm gonna check my warning lights. This is gonna light up like a Christmas tree, and I'm just making sure they're all working. My check engine light, my check transmission light. I have a service engine or service transmission light upon me. And then my brake and my ABS light also came on. And I'm gonna go ahead and start the bus from there. Okay, so moving on from starting the bus, I'm gonna work my way through all my controls and make sure that they are working properly. Starting with these two controls, these control my mirrors to make sure that my mirrors are set. In my flat mirror views, I should be able to see at least 1 inch of my bus, 200 feet to the rear of my bus, and my rear tires touching the ground. In my front mirror zone, I should be able to see the entire front of my bus, and what's in front of my bus, and along the sides of my bus. And for my inside mirror zone, I should be able to see my the top of my emergency exit and all of the students that are seated in the bus and up to 400 feet behind the bus. Continuing on, I have my mirror heater here, my interior lights, front, mid, and rear, and they are all working properly. I have my air conditioning low and high, my fans both low and high. They are working. My passenger heater and water pump are working. My country horn, ID markers, I'm going to leave those on. And here I have my amber warning lights and my red lights. For now, I'm going to leave on my amber lights. Yeah. And then this is my door control. Opens my door and my step wheel light is working. And my noise canceling button is working properly. Here I have my defrosters, low, medium, high, and driver's heater or cool air, all working properly. Here is my cruise control. My steering wheel doesn't have more than 2 inches of play, and it also moves up and down, backward and forward. And my turn signals are working on the inside. My horn is working as well. My seat adjusts backward and forward. This is my pedal adjuster if I need to do pedals forward or back. And this is my headlights, which I'm also going to put on. My gear shifting is here. Reverse neutral drive up and down in mode. Here's my ignition and my park brake. My voltage is reading at 8 volts, which is fine, and my mileage reads here as well. I am at half a tank of fuel, and this is a CNG bus. My RPMs are here, and my miles per hour is here. And then I have my oil temp, water temp, and transmission temperature. Here I have my air gauge. It's 1 gauge with 2 needles. Some of you may have 2 gauges, 1 needle each. Either way, just be aware of how to read it. And then here's my 2-way radio, which is working properly. And my seat also adjusts for the back and forward as well. So coming from here, I'm going to leave my left turn signal on. My ambers were running already. My low beams are on, and my clearance lights are on. So now I'm going to go out for the first ride, or the first walk around for the bus. checking my clearance lights and my ambers and my left turn signal and low beams, and they're all working. Along the side of my bus, starting from the top, my clearance lights are working. My windows are free of cracks or breaks. They're not missing and they're clean. My bus number, district number, and all reflectors are present, as well as my right turn signal. California ID is present as well. Here I have my electrical compartment, making sure no wires appear to be out of place. Everything is in its place. My tire cover is here. My mud flap is present. My tires properly filled and the tread depth is at least 4/32. My lug nuts are all tight. There's no rust and no excessive oil in the hub. And there's no cracks or bends in my rim. I have a tire stem and I have my rotors and pads visible as well. Here I am watching for my frame, my leaf spring and U-bolt, my brake chamber, slack adjusters, push rods, lines, and hoses, as well as my steering box and linkage. I have a visual on that, and my torque arm is also present here, as well as my shocks and spring mounts. Nothing is loose, missing, or broken. Everything appears to be in working order and in good condition. And my air tanks are all closed. Next, I have my emergency exit. It opens from the outside and it locks into place. Also, my weather stripping is intact and it's in good working order and there are no obstructions. My tire covering is intact. There is nothing in between my tires. They are properly filled. I have two, and they are at least 2/32 of tread depth. In each major groove. I have my mud flap is present. There's no cuts, bubbles, or abrasions on the outside of the tire. There's no bends or cracks in the rim. All lug nuts are tight. There is no visible rust, and everything is secure. Next, I have two tire stems, and I'm able to locate them both. Looking in the rear, I have visible my frame, my shocks, spring mounts, U-bolts, leaf spring, my airbag as I am in the rear, and my brake chambers, lines and hoses, slack adjuster push rods, rotors and pads. My batteries are properly mounted. There isn't a smell and there's no visible corrosion. Starting from the top of my bus, my clearance lights are working in the proper color, my ambers are flashing, school bus, emergency exit, stop when red lights flash, bus number, and license plate number are all legible. My left turn signal is working, and my tail lights are working as well. My bumper is intact, and my tailpipe is not sticking out more than 2 inches from the bus. My emergency exit also opens from the rear. As I come along to the side of my bus, I'm checking my clearance lights once again. They are all the proper color. My windows are not broken, cracked, or missing. All of my lettering and district number, bus number, as well as California ID are present and legible, and all of my reflectors are present and the proper color on both sides of the bus. My frame, airbag, shocks, spring leaves, U-bolts all appear to be in working order. My brake chamber, slack adjusters, push rods, lines and hoses, rotors, and pads all appear to be in working order. My tire is properly filled. There's nothing in between the tire, and I have 2/32 of tread depth. There's no cuts, bubbles, or abrasions, cracks, or bends in the rim. All lug nuts are tight. no appearance of rust, and there are 2 tire stems because I have 2 wheels in the back, and my tire cover and mud flap are also intact, as well as my drive shaft and guard are all present, appear to be in working order, and nothing is missing. My CNG fill nozzle is capped. And my front tire, the tire covering is intact. My tire is properly filled. I have 30 seconds of tread depth at least. Mud flap is present and intact. There's no cuts or bubbles or abrasions on the side of the rim. There's no on the side of the tire, there's no cracks or bends in the rim. All lug nuts are tight. There's no rust, and there's no excess oil there on the hub. My pads and my rotors are visible, and my frame, my shocks and spring mounts, leaf spring, U-bolts, brake chamber, lines and hoses, slack adjuster, and push rod all appear to be in working order, as well as my torque arm. Okay, so that was the first round. Second round, I'm deactivating my ambers, activating my reds, right turn signal. Right turn signal, high beams. Right turn signal and high beams. Alright, so my reds are working, my right turn signal is working, and my high beams are working. My red stop sign is flashing. So flashing on both sides, legible and properly mounted. And for my last go round, I'm going to deactivate all of the signals, turn on my hazards, and put the bus in reverse, turn it off, and put it into the on position so that way I can check my reverse lights. And also from here, I'm going to grab my tire stick again, and if I don't have anyone in the yard to help me, and this is a little tip to check the brake lights as well. All right, heading out for the last one. Going out, the hazard lights are working. Hazards are working all the way down, and I have an audible for the reverse. My hazards are working, my reverse lights are working, and my brake lights are working. My hazards are working all the way down as well. To check the inside of my bus. Okay, so from here I'm checking the inside of the bus. I'm making sure that there's nothing blocking my aisle, there's no loose or missing pieces from the walking path. All emergency exit wording is legible, and I can see all of my emergency exits from here. I'm also looking at my seat belts as I go down the aisle and check the seats. My side emergency exit is here. I have an audible. It opens from the inside. And I also have a visual. Continuing to check those seats, making sure this emergency exit seat works. And also looking at the seat belts. Next is the emergency rear exit. It opens from the inside. have my rear emergency exit here. I'm gonna open it, and in order to operate it, you wanna press your red handle and then push up to let yourself and the kids out. Then to put that back intact, just gotta make sure that that goes inside of there. And you lock it back into place. All right, and we have one more emergency exit roof hatch, and it operates the exact same way as the rear. All right, so going from there, let's do our brake checkout. Making sure my doors are closed first, which they are. Making sure my seatbelt is properly working, straps aren't frayed. Note, if at any point any of the tests fail, that bus will not leave the yard until a mechanic is notified and the problem is fixed. So from here, I'm going to start with my cut-in. You should cut in at no less than 85 psi. I'm going to depress my service brake and watch my needles to see if they start to build air into the system. They aren't moving, so I'm going to press it again. And I'm going to wait a moment see if those needles start to move at all. They're not moving. I'm going to press it. And I'm going to wait a minute to see if they are moving. And they just cut in. So our cut in is at 100 psi.
Now we got her in the video.
Alright, let's keep going. So we're at 100. Now we're observing for our cutout. Our cutout should be no more than 130 psi. Here I'm watching as air is built into the system. I'm making sure my needles stop moving at no more than 130 psi. This indicates that the air governor has signaled to the compressor to stop building air into the system. From there, we're doing our static test and making sure that we lose no more than 2 psi in 1 minute. Starting now, I'm watching the gauges more than I am watching my watch. Think of it this way. These gauge notches are by tens and they're really, really small. So technically 2 psi means we should get no movement in those needles. If there's a slight movement, we've already passed 2 psi. Also, usually if there's a leak in the system, you're not just going to lose 2 psi, you're going to lose air consistently. It's not going to just lose a little bit and stop. 20 more seconds. So we just finished the static. Now we're going to do our apply test, and we're making sure that we don't lose any more than 3 psi in 1 minute during our apply test. In this bus, I have to turn the key to the on position, otherwise the park brake will not release. Now, pressing my park brake first, and then on the service brake immediately after, like so. And I'm holding that service brake for 1 minute and watching my gauge. So far, no movement. Okay, and that also was a good test. Now there's 2 ways that we could do our low air warning test. Either way, we're making sure that we get an audio and a visual at not less than 60 psi. I am going to demonstrate 1 split of the tank. Okay, so I'm going to drain the air. I'm looking for an audio and a visual at not less than 60 psi. I'm also watching to make sure that only one of my needles is moving, indicating loss of air in one tank. If both needles are moving, This means there's a problem in the system. For example, the one-way check valve. Okay, so at about 80 psi, I have a visual and an audio. That was a good test. Next, I'm going to continue to drain my air to let the air completely out of one tank, and I'm going to practice the next test, which is the emergency stopping test. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the emergency stopping test once I don't hear any air coming from my tank anymore. I'm gonna close my door, making sure my door is closed before moving that bus. You cannot put the bus into motion with the doors open. And I'm gonna make sure that my seatbelt is on before moving that bus. Also, that my headlights are on before moving that bus. So I'm not ready to stop moving. Now I'm going to start the bus, and only start the bus when you're ready to move forward. I've scanned my mirrors. I have no obstructions. Now I'm going to pull forward and make sure that I have at least one emergency stop using my service brake. So that was a good test. Okay, I'm going to go out and close the drain. Keep in mind, when you split the tanks, you are going to do the same steps but with your secondary tank, making sure that each individual tank is working properly. CDE provides two ways to check the low air warning. You have the recommended, which I am demonstrating in this video, where you split the tanks, and you have the required, where you drain both tanks using your service brake. Either test should demonstrate a low air warning audio and visual at not less than 60 psi. Rev up the RPMs. And if you're in California, you get 45 minutes to do your pre-trip, which is plenty of time to knock all of this down and make sure it's working properly. So in our instruction, it says to build the air up to at least 100 psi. I went ahead and built it up to cutout. Now I'm going to move the bus forward. My next test is going to be my park brake test. Moving forward and using only the park brake to make sure that the bus stops with just the park brake. And then from here, I would do 2 service brake stops before leaving the yard. So move forward twice. Also making sure my steering wheel isn't pulling from one side or another. Now I'm going to check my child checkmate alarm. You want to make sure your child checkmate alarm is working to warn you if you haven't checked for students. This is a requirement in California. I like to use the 1, 2, 3 method when I'm checking. So, for 1, I open up my doors. 2, I turn off my headlights. And 3, I turn off the bus. And the alarm is working to signal if truly, I hope this video is helpful for you and it helps you pass your next test. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.